Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're coming in from. Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate you being with us, especially if you're coping with having dealt with a lot of turkey over the last few days. Liz, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Things have been a little weird though, because I'll tell you, being carnivore and having to cook a big old nasty meal for everybody is just, I don't know. I'm kind of over it. This is like year 3 that I've done this. And every year they're like, well, make my favorites. Oh, come on, make my favorites. And that's mac and cheese because I live in the South. Mac and cheese, like vegetable casserole, and with tons of Campbell's soup in it.
Oh,
Really nasty stuff. Like all these casseroles are made out of like either cream of chicken soup or cream of mushroom soup. And then, yeast rolls, all the things that I can't eat, and I didn't even
hmm,
eat really anything. I think I had a bite of a ham, but finding a ham that's like low carb is kind
hmm,
of difficult sometimes because they put lots of sugar in it.
hmm,
So it was all day cooking, but what was funny though is the day before I got off, when I got my turkey, or it was 2 days before, I went to buy a turkey, a giant freaking turkey, right? And I
hmm,
had to get a rotisserie chicken for lunch because I hadn't eaten lunch in a while. So I go to buy a rotisserie chicken, which is my lunch, and it was like $7.50. The freaking turkey was the entire Thanksgiving turkey was $6. I'm
wow.
suspicious. I'm very suspicious of this. And every year they do this, like, especially around where I live in South Carolina. They reduce all the turkeys to like 29 cents a pound or 49 cents a pound. That makes me think they're nasty or something. I'm like, why are these turkeys
Mm,
so cheap? Because my
mm,
lunch cost $1.50 more than the entire freaking turkey. That's
right.
crazy. I
It,
don't,
it's,
I think it's nuts.
I think no matter what you're shopping for, there is always a price point where it's too low, where you go, hang on,
Yeah.
what have they
What,
done to? Has it been on the
yeah.
floor?
I know, and I'm looking at him going, "Wait a minute, was that the truck that lost refrigeration for a while? Like, and then it refroze or something?" It's just so nasty, but I don't know.
Mm,
But it just creeps me out, and turkeys are just nasty to deal with anyway, like, when you're trying to make them, because I don't like any kind of, like, birds. I'm just I'm a beef person, yeah. It's like birds are just, like, nasty, and you have to pull his neck out of his butt and stuff, and I'm just like, this just ruins it for me, because his neck is, like, in there. His body parts are, like, shoved in there. It's like some kinda, I don't know, Dexter episode or something. I'm just, like, pulling out his neck and his I don't know, whatever parts are in there. I think
mm, mm.
giblets and whatnot, but it's just nasty, and it tastes gross the next day. I don't see how people are eating this leftover because it's just nasty the next day. I don't know. It creeps me out. But
Right.
last year I think I did make a roast or something like a prime ribeye roast or something like that. That was really good. So I need to just do that, honestly.
Right. So I might have said this to you before, but whenever I think of turkey, all I remember is an episode of Mr. Bean where he's walking around with a turkey on his head, you know.
I know what
Um,
you're talking about. Yep.
so along with Thanksgiving, there's also Black Friday.
Uh,
Today's Black Friday, right? Did you
well,
go into like Walmart and start wrestling people?
not anymore, and that's a shame because that was my favorite, like, YouTube content, like, years ago, like, back in 2010, it was awesome. I mean, you see people beating the crap out of each other, it was wonderful content-wise. I don't want people
Mm,
beating the crap out of each other, but it was great, and they'd be standing in lines like morons, like, 3 miles worth of lines, like, they would all start lining up right after Thanksgiving dinner sometimes. They would camp in front of stores. It was
mm,
it was like an amazing sociological experiment. But now, because all of the stores they start doing Black Friday in like freaking October or something now. Like, so it's always Black Friday. It's just black
right,
every
right,
day. And so
right.
now it's just like when you go look at content, you can't see people like freaking out, over a baby doll or something in the stores. It's like, That's a shame, content-wise, because it was actually very entertaining to watch,
Because
for
you
sure.
know, it's interesting you say that because it's like Christmas. You know, Christmas now they put the decorations up in
Mhm.
July or something now, right?
Yep.
And you know, Easter, the hot cross buns come out in November, and you know, all this kind of, and so it's the same with Black Friday. You know, it's 6
Mhm.
months in advance. We're having our
Yeah.
pre-Black Friday sale.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, they're milking it, and it's working though, it's really working. So, I mean, I know I took advantage of it. Like, Amazon like has some stuff like cheap as crap. So, Black
Mm,
Duck Day.
Black Duck Day.
So, I don't get
Yeah.
it, but okay.
Yeah. We've got a question here. So, guys, if you've got any questions or anything you'd like us to discuss, please put a Q in front of it. Filming not allowed is asking, is there a definitive list of how much, if at all, the most popular alternative sweeteners trigger insulin spikes based on people's actual CGM data? Hmm.
Mm.
I haven't seen anything.
I think there is a study. It's not ugh, God, with the studies again. Okay. I get triggered when I hear that word. But no, really, like real information. There's real data out there about this one, like sucralose, I believe, will, and like stevia does not. I'm trying to think of the other ones, and then
So,
maltodextrin will. So there are charts with what will and will not, I believe, but I don't know with proportion. Everybody's going to be completely different on how they react. In fact, you can see some people with the sweeteners that a lot of people don't are not supposed to have spikes with. Some people will. So
mm,
it's just completely different for everybody, I believe. But
mm, mm. Um, Yeah, I've heard people like I've had guests on that have said like allulose tends to be best for that kind of thing for not giving spikes, but then other
it's not
people
supposed to. Yeah.
do react badly to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. So, uh, Adelina, Adelina. Sorry. Any tips on using carnivore to treat severe treatment-resistant OCD intrusive thoughts, as well as I'm not going to say that word because YouTube might not like the
Mhm.
video if I say it. Sorry. Um, so I'm not sure, to be honest.
I
Other than going as hardcore as possible.
Yeah, I think especially with the OCD intrusive thoughts, since carnivore anecdotally, when you look at, like, your channel, Dave, and you see all of the mental issues that have been resolved,
Mm,
that's what that is, in a sense, it's a type of, like, something going on with the mentally and psychologically, and since, it has helped all of that, I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, obviously, you won't know until you try it, but I think now the other thing, um, I mean, it's worth a shot, you know?
mm, mm,
I would think absolutely would be worth a shot,
mm.
you know?
Just as Liz, just as you were talking there, I remember one of my very first interviews is with the lady called Valerie Smith, and she cured everything. I think it was in a clinical environment too, using carnivore.
Mm, okay.
So you can find her interview on my channel, and also she's on X. She's quite a prolific poster on X, and yeah, her name is Valerie Smith. Um, okay, okay. Everyone's got difficult usernames today. Ross the Kima. What condiments are okay on carnivore? I'm thinking balsamic vinegar. Hmm. I would say this is something you really like we were talking about with sweeteners, you've really got to test. I think you've got to go very
Mm.
strict, eliminate everything first, and then kind of add things back if you want to, like one at a time, very, very slowly to see how you react. What are your thoughts on that, Liz?
Well, Excuse me. I think that at the beginning, if you haven't done carnivore before, in the beginning, the closest you can get to lion diet where you're just doing meat and water or beef and water. And then like Dave was saying, add things in if you don't want to be that strict, because some people will find out they can't eat pork for whatever reason, and or it makes them not feel so good for some reason, or they can't eat eggs, or they have some kind of allergy, things like that. So if you have piles of stuff in the beginning, then it's hard to tell what's doing what,
Mhm.
what's actually making you feel some kind of way. So condiments now, I would say in general with condiments, is say you've been on carnivore and you're like, well, is there any condiments that wouldn't be that bad? Like you wouldn't want to touch ketchup because it's got tons of sugar in it. It's high carb. You've got things like Dr. Berry says mustard
Mm.
is like a pretty good condiment because it's, in general, depending on if it bothers you. But mayonnaise, the problem with mayonnaise is you would think that would be the perfect condiment because it has like some vinegar in it and it has eggs, so it's kind of carnivore, right? No, all the mayonnaise is made out of soybean oil, which is horrifyingly bad for you, like very inflammatory and terrible. But
Mm.
and then if you get, I tried to order some or get some mayonnaise that was clean, and it tasted rancid. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever, and then I looked at it more carefully when I ordered it, and I was like, "Oh, it's figures." I mean, because it's actually shelf stable. I mean, why would I expect it to be? But you can make your own mayonnaise out of like olive oil and eggs and stuff. But I'm too lazy to do that, at least so far. I have in the past, but
Mm. Yeah. When you talk about shelf stable there, that makes me think of, w I remember watching, Robert Lustig's, talk on sugar years ago,
hmm
and when he's talking about how, like shelf stable orange juice, it's a commodity. It's not like it's
mm,
not a food, it's or a drink,
it's a
it's just,
product.
yeah, a product for people to make money on. That's all it is. And
hmm
yeah, I think when you think about anything that's shelf stable is probably best avoided,
hmm
for the most part. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you might know more about this than me, Liz. Do you guys think Zane Griggs and Dr. Zalvadar might possibly might have been bought off by anti-carnivore forces to spread anti-carnivore propaganda? Maybe too spicy to answer.
No, I'm good with spice. I think it's very possible because he's on like a hate fest kind of thing, like the way he approaches. One thing I can say about people who get very angry about stuff, like why are you all irrational about, because he's a very irrational person. Zane Griggs, and I don't know the other dude, but I'm assuming this dude.
Sarah Zalvadar.
Oh, the other chick.
Yeah.
I don't know her, but Zane Griggs I know is like really angry person. He's like Jim Bro looking guy. So if
Um,
you're that mad about stuff, it seems like maybe it's not, I don't know,
it sounds
organic or
like
something.
Lane Norton in a way. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Or maybe I'm getting him mixed up with, I take it back. Like, isn't he maybe he's not the angry guy. I might be misplacing him. Was he the one who did the um thing with Lisa Wiedemann? He did the video about carbs.
I think that might be him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 never mind, I got him mixed up. There's too many Jim Bros going around that I've been doing videos about, but Zane, but I mean, he's another dude with his shirt off and he's 50 or something. He did the, what is it? Kicking Ass After 50 with Dr. Berry
Ah.
or something like that. Like, I think if I'm thinking of the right guy, he's the guy, and you guys tell me in the chat, like, if I'm wrong, but I think he's the one who actually wrote that book with him years ago. And he's definitely bought by whoever. Like the wind blows and he changes whatever he's doing. I think he's like he himself is a product, and he has like all these supplements that he hawks and all this kind of stuff. So he's just like a business or something. I think that's my impression that I get off of him when I actually watch him.
Mm,
What
mm,
little I've seen off of him, and he's selling himself as like a persona. I think, if
Mm,
that makes sense. So it's very possible he could have been paid off by somebody.
yeah.
You know what I
Um,
mean when I say like a product, like, people who turn themselves like they become their brand and they're just kinda like selling
right, right,
themselves, and then they have all these things that go with them. Like I did a video on Russell Brand recently, and he's kinda like his own little brand, he's kind of a crazy personality, but he has all these supplements and stuff. He's like, "I'm carnivore now," and he's doing like 10 different supplements.
right,
It's like, dude, that's not really how
right.
that works, but okay.
So, not picking anyone out on this, as far as the supplements are concerned. I'm just talking generally from the experience I've had, when I was more into marketing. Um, but typically, the thing that makes me very skeptical about supplements, no matter who is talking about them or offering them or whatever, is what I learned from my marketing days is that most supplements that get sold are not like a supplement where, the person selling it has sat down and worked out over a period of years what combination of herbs and bits and pieces work best for their body and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Basically, it's all white label stuff, right? There are
Mhm.
there are
Mhm.
these kind of, you could call them like generic or whatever kind of manufacturers of supplements, right? They just
Mhm.
produce all these white label supplements, and then you as a creator or whatever go along to these white label providers and say, what's my audience going to gel with the most, and it's
Mhm.
like creatine and chamomile or
Mhm.
something like that, right? And it's like, okay, I'll have that one, and then you get the white label supplement provider to just make a label for you that says,
Mhm.
Dave Max wonderful supplements, and slap it
Yep.
on there, and then it's like
Yep.
you've got a product. It's like selling
Mhm.
t-shirts, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly how a lot of it is. I made supplements for probably, I guess, total maybe 3 or 4 years, but the reason I did is because in pharmaceuticals, you have a lot of rigor on how you have to manufacture those, right?
Right.
And the problem was back before 2009, supplements, yeah, that wasn't a thing, man. It was just food. It was
Mm.
the food industry. It was abysmal. So the FDA, they started hurting people or causing problems because the supplement industry was trash. I mean, it was absolute trash. So they started hurting people. They put in new regulations. So they put in Part 111 of the CFR and said, okay, now you guys have to make this under these conditions, which look like drugs. They freaked out. I mean, flat out just freaked out, didn't know how to do it because, it's just food is very lax. There's not, and it has not, it's just not rigorous enough for like making supplements. They're concentrated like, pills and capsules and things like that. So I had to work for this one company. They called me because they were freaking out and they waited the last minute. And one of the things I learned about just supplements in general, it's first of all, on the label, it has that little disclaimer that says the Food and Drug Administration has not really, basically, we're not standing behind this. We'll
Right.
let you sell it, but we ain't standing behind it. It doesn't mean anything, kind of thing, which has got to make you feel all warm and fuzzy after you spend, I don't know, $75 on like some probiotic. I did a video on all of the gut biome stuff
Mm.
recently, and all the probiotic is an enormously lucrative industry. I mean, there's more money than God behind all of that stuff. And they might as well just, probiotics are just or the microbiome is like this huge like topic that people don't really understand that well, but they're selling the crap out of that stuff.
Mm.
And the thing with the supplements is if you get herbs from a lot of these places get herbs from like overseas, like in third world countries where, there's been dead cows sitting in tepid water, like on the fields and stuff like that. So that you can get all kinds of dangerous microbes. And, we actually had a couple of crops like come in from another place and it was this horrible conditions like area and it had listeria. It was like infected with listeria and all kind of stuff. I mean, so these industries are a little bit scary. It's better now that they're regulated, but it was really the Wild West before that. I can tell you that. So
Mm.
supplements, I'm not a big fan. I think there are some that are important and okay, but not in general. They're just yeah. I don't know. It
Mm,
can be kind of scary, or either nothing. They don't mean anything. They don't do anything
mm,
sometimes.
mm. Yeah. Um, okay. Question here from Anne. Do you measure blood sugar in ketones? What should blood sugar be in the morning? Under 100 or 5.5? I don't measure anything. How about you, Liz?
I do, and I'll be in the 90s a lot of the times, but sometimes if I notice my ketones are higher, I'll be for whatever reason. This is like just the way that they work together. My ketones, when they're higher, my sugar's lower at different times of the day. But I know recently people are getting really upset if they have a blood sugar that's 95 to 100. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. I think there's perception by people that we should have a blood sugar value that's like 50 or something. Like people are wanting it to be super low. And I don't know where that came from exactly. I don't, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Because first of all, the limits don't work for carnivores in general. Like the limits in general, most of the limits are not set so that it reflects us. We don't fit into the paradigm. Like, the A1C, for instance, is built on the age of the red blood cell being 120 days. And there's thoughts that the lifespan has a lot to do with how accurate that is of the red blood cells. And
right.
nobody knows, nobody tests your red blood cells to see how many gray hairs it has. And it's like, okay, well, this old. And if you don't have an accurate value, then that test is like kind of, it's not a very good test, in my opinion, especially not for carnivores. So a lot of this stuff's approximation, but I've seen people get freaked out over having like a 90 glucose or an 80 glucose. And I'm like, why?
Mm,
So I think and also your body in the morning is supposed to have a higher glucose value, and people are freaking out over that sometimes. And I'm like, but that's what your body is supposed to do. It's part of waking you up. It's what happens a
mm,
couple of hours before. It's called a dawn phenomenon, but people will reference that as if it's bad or you're broken. It's like, no, we're meant to do that. So, you know.
right. Yeah. Um, I just got a beep coming from my Facebook. I wanted to talk about something I shared this morning. So I put out a video last night, and one of the comments I received on the video is like, huh, I wonder how much Big Meat is paying this guy. And it's like, so now I'm a
Big
shill
meat.
for Big Meat.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mhm.
how much are they paying you, Liz?
Oh, yeah. Well, can't quit my day job yet, but, like, big meat sounds a little bit nasty, and I don't even know if it's a thing, honestly, but, that's crazy. But that's what you say when you don't have an argument, you know?
Right,
It's
right.
like, you just say that,
Yeah.
which that sounds kinda
Um,
funny, but
yeah, a friend commented something about Ron Jeremy after on that thing. But basically, if they are paying me, they're about 3 years late with their check, you know.
I know, and it's a
I haven't seen a
shame.
red cent from them.
Yeah, yeah, they just promised the check was in the mail, right?
Right. Yeah. So the interesting thing is, though, if I chose the other option and I chose to promote things the other way, I'm sure the beverage association would happily pay me
Mhm.
to talk about how good aspartame is and all that kind of thing, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How it's not that bad.
Yeah. So from Jen, what's your opinion on methylene blue versus antibiotic and antifungal pharma products? Have a mystery necrotic skin issue for about 18 months and specialists have been useless. Oh,
Hmm.
um, have you got any thoughts on that, Liz?
Well, the term using the word necrotic is a little scary,
Mm,
because that means your tissue's dying, which is not good. Have you tried carnivore? First question. And if you haven't, now methylene blue, I think is a fad, in my opinion, based on what it actually does, possibly does. And it'll dye your internal organs colors and stuff. Because when I first heard people talking about methylene blue, I was like, "What?" like, because I used to use that in the laboratory. Like, that's a lab chemical.
Oh.
That's a synthetic laboratory chemical. That's like, I don't know, that's as odd as me having burgers, like, in the lab on the lab shelf or something. It's like not, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, people are what, they're eating this on purpose? There is a use for it in malaria, I think, but and then possibly it could be used for cognitive abilities in some people with certain conditions or something like that, as far as I know, but it's very unknown. But I don't, I would, I'm not a fan of that. Now, antifungal and antibiotic pharma products, like antibiotics and antifungals, I mean, they can be useful, but it really just depends on what you have growing. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, you have to have sensitivity testing to see, first of all, you would need to know what bug are you growing? What is it? Is it a fungus? Is it a bacteria? And then you would have to do resistance testing on that bacteria. You'd have to grow it and see what antibiotic works. So a lot of times now, when you have some kind of, which in this type of situation, if you go to a doctor, at if you've been a lot, you've had it for a long time, then they would swab it and hopefully do sensitivity testing on it to make sure that whatever antibiotic they put you on is working. I mean, if I had like if I had necrosis on somewhere, like, I definitely would. I'm not a fan of pharma, but I would definitely be using something in that case, because that sounds a little scary. And
mm.
again, not knowing that much about your condition or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that the specialists have been useless is like this is one of the things that's so frustrating is like if you're going in there and you've got a problem like necrosis and they're just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
try this steroid.
Yeah, here's a
Um,
steroid, yeah.
it's a little bit scary.
Mhm. And you didn't get your
Um,
money back, I'm sure.
yeah. Um, Just as a follow-up to that, Jen's been carnivore since June 2024. The skin is dying. I've heard methylene blue is the 1700s version of antimicrobial antifungal.
Yeah, and now I know, like I said, I know it can be used to treat malaria, okay, which is a very different type of situation. And as far as all the risks go, I couldn't tell you, and I don't think anybody can, because it would be off-label usage of something like that. It wouldn't be what the only thing that they know to use it for. It'd be used for something different, so there's no way to tell you, but that is very odd, that the
Mm,
skin is dying. Like, well, it sounds like if they've done swabs and they know it's not a fungus and they know it's not a bacteria, then antibiotics, antifungals aren't gonna help you. And they should
mhm,
know that because you can see that. I can see bacteria under a microscope. I can grow it. I can grow fungus. I can see it under a microscope because I was a microbiologist for about 10 years. I was exclusively in like clinical microbiology. But yeah, that's just weird. You know,
mm, mm.
I've not
Yeah.
heard of that, unfortunately.
Just another follow-up. So punch biopsy said staph dermatitis and ringworm. Nothing is working. Anything I've tried has been with my GP. Dermatologist hasn't tried anything at all.
Hmm.
Well, I think
No.
I think that's because dermatologists are basically like steroid. Oh, that doesn't work. If you try the stronger steroid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're like the optometrist of the medical world. So, I guess, you know, that's mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, I hope something can works out for you, Jen. And of course, just to, you know,
Lion diet.
just to understand, just to underline, nothing said on here is medical advice. Neither of
That's
us are
right.
doctors. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But if you do have any questions or discussion points, please chuck a Q in front of it so my Saturday morning eyes can find it
Mhm.
quickly.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
it's morning there. I forget.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So what time have you got there? Is it 5:30?
6:30, 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're Eastern time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, it always feels funny when it's like, it's the weekend, and I talk to people who are in North America, and I'm like, have a good weekend, and they're like, it's still Thursday night or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear people and off in the distance rattling their plates going to get some more food.
Oh, really?
That's all I've heard is people
So
wander in. You hear they just wander in and graze all day long. It's just like in and out, in and out, in and out of the fridge. That's the biggest part about Thanksgiving is the aftermath because it's just days of grazing, you know.
right. Right.
Speaking of
So
blood sugar.
are you at the point now where, all that preparation that you've done and stuff, you're not looking at any of that food that you're creating, the mashed potatoes, whatever it is, and you're
Mhm.
not going like, "Oh, I really wanna have some of that."
Mhm. No,
That's
it's
gone?
actually yeah, it's gone, and this year, it's kind of where I'm at the point of annoyance because last year, it was like, I don't know, I ate a few things and I made something special, like carnivore, extra carnivore things, and this year, I'm just like, "What for?" I'm like, "It's just food." A day to just be gluttonous just seems stupid to me at this point. It's annoying, and I'm like and I was happy that they liked the food, but I didn't for myself. I had a bite of ham or something, and it's like, that was it. I didn't eat anything else, and then I think yesterday morning for breakfast, because we had Thanksgiving the day before. But yesterday for breakfast, I had like an egg casserole or something, which was carnivore, and I had a little bit of that. But like, it's like turned into some kind of fasting, you know,
Mm,
stint or something now because it just seems so dumb.
right.
It's just like just gorging yourself, and everybody, and I know everybody, a lot of the people are, sick
Mm,
and have conditions, and a lot of them are overweight, and they're just like giving themselves license to feed for 2 whole days, 2 or 3 whole days, because those leftovers last for a while, you
mm.
know? But
When I see like, the emotional thing's gone for me, but and the thing it's been replaced with is, I guess it's similar in a way. It's like when I see people eating some of this stuff with, like, let's say it's mashed potatoes or something like that, I just look at it and think, I am so glad I don't have to feel
mhm.
like I would feel after eating the mashed potatoes now. So,
Yep.
before when you're into it, it's like, "Oh, that taste, those few
Mhm.
seconds of taste is everything I need,"
Yep.
Um, but now my focus is on, yeah, but the after effects are so bad.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, that was the worst.
it's the same with alcohol for me now as well. Like, if I
Mhm.
see someone drinking now, I just think to myself, "So glad I never have to wake up with a
Mhm.
hangover ever again."
Mhm. That's and that's the thing with, when I used to drink years ago, and I kind of have this thing where I can't be addicted to something because it's too inconvenient.
Mhm.
So, when I actually was drinking too much and it was mainly I was married to a German and everybody was it's just their culture just drinks a lot. That family
Mm.
drank a lot. So, I was around them and I was drinking all the time, and you kinda get used to it where you can't be social without drinking. I
Right.
don't know if you experienced that, like, where you're just
Mm.
you have more fun when you're drinking kinda thing, so it was part of my life, a big part of my life, but at some point, like, I just couldn't do it anymore because afterwards it makes you feel too bad, and I was like, "Well, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore," and I was able to stop that, but the food was much harder, and so, a lot of people would think alcohol's way harder to give up, but the food for me was much, much, much harder to give up. I was big time food addict, and
Mm.
that and you don't get rid of it like the alcohol I got rid of because everybody knows it's bad to drink, but when you eat like a horse, like people aren't really saying anything because everybody eats garbage. Everybody eats like standard American diet. So,
Mm.
everybody does it, so it's more accepted, but that caused me a lot more problems than like the alcohol did.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I would, agree, like, I would have thought the alcohol would have been more difficult to give up, but it ended up being a lot easier than giving up the
The food,
carbs and the
yeah.
sugar. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Abundantly Blessed Homestead. Thoughts on the need for fermented foods or probiotics on carnivore? Shauna Mara swears by them, but I don't do them myself. Do you have any fermented food in your diet, Liz?
I have heard anecdotally, no, I don't eat any, but I've heard anecdotally that people who had issues and introduced that, it helped them.
Mm.
So that's really all I can say about it. Now, do I think that all of this is figured out and that we know what our microbiome needs? Absolutely not. We do not. We don't know. We don't understand enough about it. So that's, when it comes to the probiotics and all that kind of stuff, that's that industry I was talking about. That's like a mega, 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 mega big money. They're making a fortune on that. They don't really understand. And most of the actual supplements that you get are destroyed in the stomach acid.
Mm.
So none of it can really, and not all of it. Now they are making strains that are more resistant, or they're coming up with strains that are more resistant, or cultivating them or whatever, and using that to. But here's the thing with this is my take on it. Is like if we have to engineer pills that survive stomach acid to make it to other parts of our body, what the heck did they do? What did cave people do? What did they do? It's like, so I don't, and I understand, like, puddle water was around at the time, like Dr. Berry says, well, we were drinking puddle water. We didn't need electrolytes. So
Mm.
I get that, but think about it. Like, what I don't need anything outside of like red meat and water. Like
Mm.
I'm fine with that. But, you know, I don't understand this whole probiotic, prebiotic, all of this kind of thing, because of the simple fact that, well, what did they do back before there was a Walgreens?
Right.
And if you need a Walgreens, it's not really part of the human thing. Now, I'm not saying they don't help, and I'm not saying like the fermented foods are not like necessarily a good idea. But my thing about the supplements, like the prebiotics, probiotics, all that kind of stuff, that I have a problem with, because, it's outside of, it's not food. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like it's
Mm.
something that's developed specifically,
Right.
and most
Uh,
of it's killed in the stomach.
mm. Yeah. I always, when I think about all this kind of stuff, I always think, so we were we were a broken species until Big Pharma came along. It makes no sense. And the
Yeah.
only species that relies on Big Pharma to survive are humans. That wouldn't
Mhm.
be the fact that we're the only species with wallets.
Yep, pretty much the reason,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I like, Dr. Berry says we don't have a metformin deficiency.
Right,
Like,
right.
"Look at you, you have a metformin deficiency." I thought it was funny. That's funny.
Yeah. So, do you guys mostly eat OMAD? I would say I'm 95% OMAD.
Me too,
Mm.
usually. Oh, and one thing I wanted to bring up is I saw Charger Mopars in here, and he said something about duck. He keeps talking about duck food.
Mm.
So, I don't get that,
He
but I'm
calls
blind, so,
he calls non-carnivore foods duck food. So
Oh,
like
okay, okay.
Cheetos or something,
Like
they
that you'd
only
feed a duck, okay,
yeah, you only give it to
okay,
ducks. Yeah,
okay. I don't feed ducks, so maybe that's why I don't know.
yeah. So I think I may get this name incorrect or something, but I think he's got lots of Muscovy ducks visiting his place all the time. So
Okay.
yeah, they get all the non-carnivore foods. Um, So, Annie, when strict carnivore, having an avocado, avocado helps my gut issue. Do either one of you eat something extra that seems to help with gut issues? I have had 2 bowel resections. I don't. I've completely avoided anything other than kind of meat and eggs for the last 3.5 years because I know if I start eating them, I'll just continue, and it gets worse and worse
Mhm.
and worse and snowballs out of control. But I guess if it's helping, then that's good. That's good
Mhm.
news for you. Yeah, and I can understand it would help some people, like it slow down digestion or moving through the gut and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts, Liz?
Yeah, I think that food basically in that case, you're using kind of food as medicine, which I mean,
Mm,
if you're gonna need some kind of medicine, food's a better medicine than anything else, when it comes to natural remedies and things like that. Like the Chinese have used when I worked for the supplement company. The owner actually did a lot of research with the Chinese different companies. They've done herbal remedies and all this kind of stuff that that actually have legitimacy to it. So when I'm talking about supplements, I'm talking about modern supplements. Like before we had pharmaceutical companies, there were herbal tinctures and elixirs and things like that that were actually helping people, and so they came from food. So I think that if you test your own body and you know what you need and you try something and it works for you and it's whole food, I don't ever tell somebody they shouldn't do that,
mm, mm.
because and also everybody's in a different state of health, so I don't think it would hurt anything, honestly.
Yeah. Um,
Now you
okay.
might get your carnivore card taken away, but it's like, it's like they might take your carnivore card, but I don't typically care about things like that,
Yeah.
so.
Speaking of carnivore cards, so would someone who is carnivore who eats fermented vegetables be considered a dirty carnivore diet? I wouldn't actually consider that dirty carnivore.
No, dirty carnivores if you're, like, chewing on a Slim Jim kinda thing. Like, if you're on you're eating, like, Slim Jims with, sugar and things, but you're only eating meat. But see, that's got so much, like, sugar and garbage in it, it's, like, processed. Typically, if you call somebody a dirty keto, okay, dirty keto is the processed keto snacks and cookies and
Mm,
stuff. So I would say in my terms, I mean, we don't there's not definitions for this, but if you called somebody a dirty carnivore, I would say that was somebody that's eating like hot dogs and Slim Jims and things like that are processed, that
mm, mm,
have a bunch of other stuff in them. But I would say if you eat fermented vegetables, then you're animal based. That's more of
mm.
a descriptor, I think. I think that's what people are using nowadays to actually describe that. Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who are doing it. A lot of people do the fermented veggies on the side.
Mm. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I would be I always think, like, when someone says, "I do," I have a couple of vegetables occasionally.
Mhm.
And you get some people jumping up and down saying you're not carnivore and that kind of thing, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, where do you draw the line? Because
Mhm.
like for example, I drink coffee, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, no, we're not carnivores
so
in terms of the purist. Yeah.
right, so like, where do you draw the line? Like, the fact that I've had a little, a cup of coffee, does that mean that I can't be called
Mhm.
carnivore anymore? So yeah,
I
I
think
think.
it's like it's basically a social kinda norm where if you drink coffee, all carnivores drink or a lot of carnivores drink coffee. So they just like, that's nothing. Even though it's a plant, it's like dirty bean water. So you're drinking dirty bean water, you still be called a carnivore, but if you add some other vegetables, it's like, "Oh, well, you're not carnivore, you're animal based." So it's kind of funny the lines that are drawn, if you look at it.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
But I drink dirty bean water too, so.
Mediterranean D. So the reason I'm showing Mediterranean D
Oh,
is
I know why you're showing him.
Mediterranean D is the person that thinks I'm shilling for big meat.
Oh,
He's the one
no.
that said, I'm shilling, well, assuming it's a he, um, said, I'm shilling for big meat. I'm
Well,
ripped to
he's a
shreds.
beefy woman if he's not, so.
I'm ripped to shreds on high carb. You should follow Mike Mentzer. He was right.
Mm,
Yeah. So I'm still waiting for the payment from Big Meat.
mhm. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Medi D. Now, I see a lot of your comments on my channel. It's like, I appreciate your comments, I do, but I think the point that's being missed here is that all of us used to do the carbs. Carbs were a thing. I've done every diet, and the only diet that got rid of my 7 medical conditions was the carnivore diet. It's the only one after all these years, you know? So, I would never go back to eating things that make me feel like crap and that
Mm,
make me 100 pounds overweight because that's kind
mm,
of the point of it. And so, like you're talking about, are you a carnivore if you drink coffee and da 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 da? It's like you need to do what diet, eat the foods that stop you from feeling bad, that make you feel your best, and that keep you from gaining like a ton of weight, you know?
mm. So I think also, you know, I think a lot of people kind of who will say, "Oh, well, look how muscly I am, and I'm doing vegan, or
Yeah.
I'm doing high carb or whatever." I
Mhm.
think that often kind of miss the point.
Mhm.
And people who are going to carnivore are not necessarily going to carnivore because they want to be shredded, and they want to be
Yeah.
lifting cars and
Mhm.
saving people from bad guys
Mhm.
in Gotham City and all that kind of thing. They just want to stop, as you say, stop feeling sick.
Mhm. Stop
They
the
do,
pain,
yeah,
suffering. Yep.
yeah, they don't wanna walk around with knee pain anymore, they don't care
Mhm.
what their pecs are like, they
Mhm.
care that they can barely stand when they wake up in the morning.
Mhm.
And so I think when we talk about, "Well, you're not shredded, so, you should be
Mhm.
doing high carb or vegan," or
Mhm.
whatever, I think, yeah, it just misses the point.
And it's a different realm. So there are vegan bodybuilders and stuff like that, and then there's carnivore bodybuilders, and you guys can, see whose is bigger and all that kind of stuff. It's like, but, that's not my world. It's like, "Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I'm 58. I'm postmenopausal. I'm just wanting the pain to stop," and it has made me feel like I'm a 20-year-old. So, I have the energy I had more energy than I had when I was 20. So, it's done great things for me, and that's evidence that it did. Like,
Mm, mm,
it works. So, I just do what works,
mm.
you know?
Exactly, yeah. Um, okay. And George is just saying Mediterranean D is a regular visitor, nice guy, 45-year-old athlete and doing nicely. Thank you. Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was a regular commenter on my channel. Like I said, he's ripped and buff and what he's doing is working for him. So
mm,
that's all you can do.
yeah. And Bubba Vor says Mike Mensa died at 49 years old. Oh, okay.
That's who he was telling us to read about.
Yeah. Um, okay. And Brooke, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Um, okay. Any questions that I've missed here? No, I don't think so. Um, yeah. So, well, we've talked about OMAD, um, and how we're typically OMAD. What about everyone that's in the chat? Are you OMAD, 2 mad, 3 mad,
10
very
man.
mad? That's vegan. So yeah.
There you go.
What are you? Let us know in the chat. Um, Rick says Ensa, I guess he means Mike Mensa was insane and smoked cigarettes as well.
Oh, insane. That's
That
okay.
that'll keep the weight off.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I myself, and I know a lot of people, once they gave up the cigarettes, the weight started piling back on because you got to find something to do with your
That's right,
hands.
'cause it's
Yeah.
about this right here. Because I know people who are trying to quit smoking, and that's what they have a problem with is the act of going to their car and sitting there and,
Mm.
doing the hand gesture type of thing. On
Yeah.
road trips too, like, years ago when I smoked, for a little while, I didn't smoke much, I had a natural allergy to it, but I would try to smoke, and it's like I would get used to it for a couple of weeks, and I would wanna, like, have something to do on a road trip. That was a
Mm.
big one, you know?
Yeah. I think just speaking from experience, and I feel like something like smoking or drinking is especially addictive to anyone who's got any level of kind of social anxiety or something like
Uh-huh.
that. Like, because when I was, you know, young, when I was like 14, 15,
Mhm.
I was so anxious socially. Like I would never talk to anyone, I'd never approach
Mhm.
anyone at all. And as soon as I discovered alcohol and smoking, it was like my life completely changed. I became a confident
Yep.
person because it was like it gave me this
Mhm.
natural confidence, but it also gave me something to hide behind, you know,
Yep.
while in conversation with people.
Yeah, I was in a, rock bands when I was, younger, and going on stage, like, I would just freeze up, and I wouldn't be able to do it, but, man, you get a couple of vodka tonics in me, I'm like I'm the life of the party. I was the perfect show person. I mean, everything it's like I turned into a different human, completely.
Mm,
But because
mm.
there's a lot of stage fright or whatever, but, which was really that's weird how you become a different person, like that inner something inside of you just, sheds the skin and just comes out. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's a and you actually get comments from people like, "Oh, well, you we had a really good conversation last night," or, "Oh, you
Mhm.
seemed much more funny than I thought you were," and all this kind of thing, and it's
Yeah.
like that's that
Mhm.
reinforcement as well, and you start to go,
Mhm.
"Well, I need this stuff."
Mhm. I need to keep doing it, and then you
Mm,
get to a point where that's like with writers, a lot of, the greats, were just miserable alcoholics. I mean, look at
mm,
Stephen King. So which I mean, I used to love reading his stuff, and he wrote about being a miserable alcoholic. Like, a lot of his books, like, if you look at a lot of the plots in his books, he's writing about the character he's writing about as a miserable alcoholic. So, it's like they view themselves as, like, a different entity or whatever, and a lot of people are afraid to stop drinking because if they stop drinking, they're gonna kill that creative whoever inside kinda thing, which is
mm,
interesting, and that's a big thing with creativity 'cause I used to think that, like, 'cause I quit drinking after and I didn't like I said, I didn't necessarily had a problem. I had a problem with doing it too much, but I wasn't like I could go without it. So it was, that type of thing. Socially, I was really abusing it. But I was afraid to stop drinking after my first novel because I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to have any ideas, and I'm not gonna be able to come up with anything." And it doesn't go away. That's not really a thing, but a lot of people are afraid of that.
mm. Yeah. Wow. Um, all right. Liz, about how much protein can you get in one meal?
Hmm. If it's now I can overeat. Oh, I love ribeyes. Like, I love steak and I love good burgers. Like, so I have to stop myself since I'm a food addict. Like, I can eat easily, I can eat a pound of meat, and that's fine, but I can, like, make myself sick. I can keep eating because I love the act of eating it because and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you can't overeat on carnivore." Oh, yes, you can. I'm sorry, but you can. You can overeat anything if you're an idiot like myself, okay? Because that's the thing about food addicts is you are addicted to the way something tastes and you can be in like I'm a butter addict, my name's Liz, so it's like you can do that to anything, but I think with me if I'm going to eat comfortably and slowly sometimes with you do OMAD, like you're really really hungry, like if you get really hungry and you don't get a chance to eat another meal and you needed to or something, because occasionally I'll need to do that, then you get home and you just kind of pile it on, but I'd say, I guess about I don't weigh it, but I guess about like a pound or something like that, But I'm a
Mm,
I'm a woman, so it's like, different between men would have to eat more. I think men need to eat like what? Typically, you're gonna eat like what, 2 pounds of meat a day or something like that.
mm,
How much
yeah.
do you eat, Dave?
I'm I'm probably only eating about a pound of meat a day, about 6 to 8 eggs typically,
Oh, okay,
and
so you have
that
the
tends
meat
to
and
do
the
me.
eggs. Yeah,
Yeah, I put it
that sounds
together
about
and yeah.
yeah.
Um, but also, like I said, I'm 95% OMAD, so I'm kind of where I've landed is basically if I get to the afternoon and I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat again,
Mhm.
you
That's
know?
what I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
and occasionally I'll get hungry and I'll need to have something because maybe the day before I ate really early or something.
Mm,
But if I do that and I don't get that extra something or whatever, and then I wait till the night at the night, I'm typically going to overeat a little bit. Not a lot, but just I might overshoot the mark a little bit, but that's the food
mm,
addiction stuff.
mm,
But it
mm,
is better. It's almost it's I rarely do that. So that's the good news is that carnivore kinda solved that, but
mm. So Elizabeth just has a follow-up here. I'm worried about undereating, so a pound is enough then. Thank you. Yeah. I
Yep.
would say you need to not feel hungry. You need to not be
Mhm.
thinking about food. If your mind
Yep.
is drifting back to food, then you probably are not eating enough.
Yeah,
Sorry, was
and
I cut you off?
also weakness and things like that, like, you need to feel, like, you know, satiated, and you need to if you're weak or tired and you don't feel like it's possible you're not eating enough, you might need to eat more because everybody's different in what they need. How
Mm,
many how much, protein and stuff.
yeah. Um, so Rick's just saying here, I used to eat 4 to 6 pounds of meat a
Woo!
day and 6 eggs, cheese, and yogurt. Wow. And
And I know people who do that, who do need to do that, so everybody's different, and how much they
mm,
need, so
yeah. Okay. What would happen if suddenly the world woke up and we all started eating carnivore? Are there enough animals to go around to feed the whole planet? Probably not enough
Mm,
to go around, but I think you solve that by kind of local areas all worrying about themselves kind of thing rather than,
mhm.
worrying about mass production of meat, I guess, but I'm not sure. What do you think, Liz?
Well, I think that first of all, you know, I don't think we'll ever see that happen just because of the way you know what I mean? Like, the way that everybody worships the carb. So,
Right,
I
right.
doubt seriously it's gonna happen, but, um, you know, I think that it would have to require a restructure of just about everything. It would have to be restructured in how we actually, operate as a human race, basically.
Mm,
Because if you look at, like, what they're doing with Maha stuff and they might put a little sentence in there, and I don't know if anybody's heard the updates because I haven't recently, but I know that, basically the guidelines are about to be tweaked, and that will mean whatever they do in there will affect the military, all the schools, nursing homes, hospitals, everything, right?
mm,
So let's say he actually was honest and said, flip it. You know what I mean? Just completely flip it, and you've got a buttload of meat, and then you've got, like, a itty bitty amount of grains. The entire economy, I think, would crash. I think literally everything would just implode if you did something like that, because even if you just look at the military, and you look at the schools, and you just look at that, because I don't care what the food pyramid says, and most people don't. But if you look at that, and you look at every other country follows suit to it, I mean, if you think about it, that would be a big deal. So that's why, number 1, I mean, that's not gonna happen. He's not flipping
mm,
it.
mm,
But, whatever they do, and what I think was proposed is that they say something like, "Well, you might wanna try a low carb diet." So basically, you're not like a anathema or something, like, because you have a low carb diet, making it
right.
allowable, but
Mm,
that's an interesting question. I've thought about that often. It's like you'd have to have a restructuring of basically priorities, because everything's and you'd have all the people making all the crappy processed food. If everybody was eating carnivore, they're not eating processed food. So,
mm, mm, mm.
you
I
know
I think the biggest issue, if this happened and just say there was enough meat to go around, I think the biggest issue with this and why it would never work,
Mhm,
because they would never allow it to happen, is the economy would just be destroyed.
mhm. Yep, like,
Um,
if he flipped the food pyramid, it would be over with, like, USDA in of itself is just such a behemoth.
mm, yeah, yeah. And you mentioned the food pyramid. Speaking of the food pyramid, I interviewed someone from Switzerland the other day, and she told me about the latest Swiss food pyramid,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's very interesting. The bottom of the food pyramid, like the eat most, is water, coffee, tea, and clear soup. The second row is vegetables and fruits, and the
Mhm.
third row is grains, and then you've got everything else. And the top of the pyramid is chocolate and potato chips.
Where's the
So yeah,
meat?
there's no red meat. There's only chicken
Oh.
and fish. There's only chicken and fish and eggs,
Oh,
and that's
gross.
kind of in the corner in the middle.
Oh my god, that's
So
crazy.
yeah,
And where is
they're
this?
Switzerland. They're
Oh.
extremely anti-red meat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So we're at the 1 hour mark, so we might finish up for today. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and Liz, thank you for doing this again. It's always awesome to catch up
Thanks for having me.
and chat, and always a good laugh. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.